If you're going to do retro computers on YouTube, you need a wood effect desk, even if it is just a vinyl wrap. Welcome back to CRG. This week we're going to start looking at the Olivetti Echo's 44 color laptop. Released in 1994, the first thing that catches your eye about this laptop is the color. Most laptops of the day are your typical boring grey, but for this one, Olivetti went with a very Italian terracotta. It should come as little surprise then that to design this machine, Olivetti brought in Italian architect Michele De Lucchi. In fact, Michele had done previous work with Olivetti on their Philos 44 laptop and would go on to work on various other products, including the Envision system. As for the terrifically terracotta tabletop, and according to a 1994 CBR article, the design principle of the Echoes was to create a laptop with comfort and style. And the more you look at it, the more you can see that was certainly the intention here. Aside from the colour, we get a soft palm rest. All corners of the laptop are nicely rounded. The keyboard has a satisfying amount of travel on each keystroke, and even the ports on the back are hidden behind this rubber flap. Trust me, as someone who works with architects on a daily basis, the last thing they'd want to see is ugly ports ruining the smooth lines of their design. On the more technical side, the Echoes came in two variants, that being the 42, which featured a monochrome black and white screen with 46SX processor, 4MB of RAM and 120MB hard drive. There was then the 44 color, which, as you might have guessed, has a color screen, but also the faster 46DX2 processor, and the hard drive was also a bit bigger, coming in at 240MB. Both systems shipped with MS-DOS 6.22 and Windows 3.1. There was also the option for additional memory up to a total of 24MB. The only thing missing is sound, well, other than PC speaker, but it's fairly typical for 46 laptops not to have a sound card. That really didn't become commonplace until the later Pentium machines. So, how about our Echo's 44 color laptop? Well, I picked this up from eBay. Spares or repairs, untested. There's no charger with this, but hopefully I have another Toshiba charger that will be compatible. We're going to test that in a minute. This red dot on the screen is a little concerning. What could that possibly mean? Is the screen damaged? I don't see any cracks in it, so hopefully the screen is okay, but if it is, why has someone put a red dot on it? Contrast and brightness sliders for the screen. Soft touch power supply and LED indicators for battery, hard drive access, etc. 3.5-inch floppy drive. Trackball with buttons below and above. Keyboard, which I have already mentioned, actually feels quite nice. We are missing this door here, which presumably is where the battery once was, but hopefully we can come up with something on the 3D printer to cover that. You get the typical two PCMC IA slots. That's just the eject button for it. Little reset tab in there, you'd have to poke a pen in or something to press that. On the back, behind our rubber flap, we have single PS2 for keyboard, serial, parallel and a VGA out. Nothing of much interest on that side, other than to show that the case is unfortunately a little damaged. I dare say some of the little plastic tabs have broke off. Maybe somebody tried to force this open before and has damaged it, but if we get lucky, maybe we'll find those plastic tabs in there and we could try and glue it back together. On the bottom of the machine, we have this little door that slides open. That gives us access to this expansion connector, presumably for a docking station. And then the other thing to note down here on this sticker, 14.4 volts at 2.4 amp. That is the power supply we need. That goes in here, and I'm hoping that this old Toshiba laptop power brick will do the trick. This outputs 15 volt at 4 amps, so plenty of current. 15 volts out of this thing is looking 14.4. I think that'll be fine. Only thing we need to check is whether this jack down here is center positive or not. And to do that, what we're going to do is take our multimeter just on continuity. We're going to test to see where ground is, which should have continuity between whatever pin is ground in here and the exposed metal on these ports on the back. So it's definitely not the center. We get continuity on the outside of where the jack would connect. So that tells us that this connector is center positive, which just happens to be the same as this Toshiba power brick. Before we do go ahead and power this on though, I want to take it apart first and just make sure there's nothing obvious in there that it would potentially blow itself up. Let's get the bottom off and let's take a look. So there only are the two screws that I can see, here and here. Feeling underneath those labels, it doesn't seem to be anymore, so we'll take those two out and see how we get on. That's quite nice. Little spring-loaded captive screws. This one the same. Yep. So how does it come off? Well, one giveaway might be this little bit here. You can see a little metal tab in there. It almost looks as if it wants to slide. So we'll need to take that off because that is attached to the base. And is it just, yep, there we are. That was fairly simple. And yeah, you can see where quite a few of the tabs are broken. In fact, all broken down that side. One broken there, one broken there, one broken there. Yeah, I wonder, are there any bits in here? Yeah, not looking promising. I was sort of hoping when we turned that upside down and jiggled it, little bits of terracotta plastic might fall out, but no. Maybe have to try and come up with something different to fix that base. And look what I have just noticed. I thought the 44 was meant to have a 46 DX2. This system has a 486 SX. Oh well. So it looks like we also have a memory expansion in here. So the machine has 4 meg on as standard. I wonder how much additional memory this adds. Perhaps another 4 meg. Or well, there's modules on both sides. Perhaps 8 meg. Well, if we get it powered on, we'll soon find out. This module here also looks as if it wants to come out. Let me see. Yep. There we are. So, just an idea, but perhaps did this system once have a DX2 processor in it and somebody swapped it out for this? I don't know why you would. Maybe someone's tried to cobble together a working laptop and put this in it. Or maybe taken the DX2 out of this machine to put into a 42. Who knows? So there's our hard drive. Let's see if we can get that out. Oh no, 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 no. What is that? So we unfortunately have a tear. If you can make that out. There's a tear in this ribbon cable. That is bad news. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes through at least 5 of the traces there. What are we going to do? I suppose one option is to try and scrape off the protective coating here. I mean, it is just copper traces. Well, presumably. We can scrape that off, expose the copper, and try and solder little jumpers across. Could always try and find another one of these ribbons, but I dare say the only place I'm going to find another one of them is in another one of these laptops. Or I might be able to run little jumper wires just off the exposed pins there across to, well, presumably this pin's exposed and below that as well. That needs a little bit of thought. So the main reason I am hooking through this is just I want to see what type of battery it has. I don't think it'll have your sort of barrel battery that's known to leak and cause problems. But I just want to check before we try to power it up. And nope, there's the battery there. Panasonic lithium battery, VL3032. I dare say that's dead as a doornail, but I'm sure we could fit a new battery in here and just connect it up to these red and black wires. There's our little PC speaker. And that is pretty much that inside here. The machine is quite dirty, so what I'm going to do is just continue stripping it down, take the motherboard out, and then I can just give everything a really good clean. It sort of smells as if it's been left in a damp environment for a long time. So, just want to give it a bit of a clean, then we'll reassemble it and try to power it on. What am I going to do about this though? So just before I do start putting it back together, I'm sure some of you will want to see the underside of the motherboard. Well, there it is in all its glory. The only chip I can identify is this. That's the VGA controller, but the rest of it, not 100% sure. Presumably our chipset in here. There's a custom Olivetti chip here. And these other two, Western Digital, but can't find any information on any of these, what they do. So if anyone has any ideas, maybe let me know. But that's the underside of the motherboard. Oh, while I was showing you the outside of the case, I suggested that there was a button below and perhaps two buttons above on the trackball. There's just one button, top and bottom. Not sure which would be which. Left hand mouse button at the top, right at the bottom. Don't know. In fact, that's meant to be that way around, but you know what I mean. So that's most of the system back together now. I'm not going to bother putting the hard drive back in, just with the damage to the ribbon cable. Not sure how that might upset things, so better to leave it out. And I noticed, by the way, when reinstalling this CPU card, it actually has these memory modules on both sides as well. So that's a total of 4 meg with that, and those modules are the same part number as these, so that's probably another 4 meg on that, and 8 megabytes in total. Hopefully if this machine powers up, it'll confirm that for us. So, no time like the present. Let's get the Toshiba power brick connected up. That's a nice good tight fit in there, so hopefully it'll make good contact. That's a good start. It's showing an LED there that it has a main supply. Let's see if it'll turn on. It's counting up its memory, and 8 megabytes in total. But look at that. That's why there's a red dot on that LCD screen, because that screen is completely knackered. There's not a lot of range and brightness here, isn't it? But you'll probably find the whole thing is just wore out. Big vertical bar here and lots of vertical lines. That will most likely be those little ribbon cables that go to the LCD itself. I've never had much luck trying to fix those, but I suppose we can try. I need to take this screen off, open it up, and at least have a look at the LCD to see if there's anything we can do with it. So what can we do? We're in the BIOS here. More problems. Seems as if part of this keyboard is maybe not working. So I was able to press down to move down to bootstrap option, but I can't press up again. Left and right seem to be working, but no up. So we have 3 problems in total then. Dodgy keyboard, dodgy screen, and this broken ribbon cable. I think what we'll concentrate on today is this, because if I can't fix that, there's probably not much point in spending any time trying to fix this screen or this keyboard. This is going to be absolutely critical to getting this system working properly. So what are we going to do? I think in the first instance I'm going to try and scratch off some of this silver coating here, which I think will reveal copper underneath, and then we can try and patch this up. If that doesn't work, the only other solution I can come up with anyway is just to run little jumper wires from these exposed pins here across 2 pins on this side. I mean, I suppose I could just desolder this ribbon all together, get the 44 pin IDE cable and make it off onto this connector, but that seems like an awful lot of hard work. Let's try and fix this ribbon first of all. So you can more clearly see this tear in the ribbon, and what I've been doing just with the knife here is just scratching across the top of this silver coating to expose the copper trace underneath. Hopefully you can see the copper exposed there and there on this larger trace at the outside. Just need to do the same with the rest of them. So first thing I want to try and do is just tin up the exposed copper here. So plenty of flux. I have the iron sitting quite low. We're only at 250 degrees. Let's see how this goes. Well, unfortunately that turned into a bit of a disaster. As soon as I put the soldering iron onto the exposed copper on this ribbon, it just peeled up off the ribbon. I cut it back a wee bit and then tried again, but just the same thing happened. As soon as you put heat to it, the copper traces just start to lift. So rather than keep going at it, I knew I was making a bit of a mess, so abandoned that idea. Just cut out a section of the ribbon here where all the damage is on it, and installed these 5 wires just between the exposed pins on these connectors. So hopefully this cable is now good again. Let's try it in the laptop with the hard drive. That's the hard drive installed with our sort of repaired ribbon cable. Interested to see if this is going to work or not. Not going to bother putting the bottom cover on yet, because still need to try and fix that keyboard and the screen, so it's all going to have to come apart again anyway. But because the keyboard is a bit dodgy, and because the screen is, well, crap, going to hook up this external keyboard and this screen as well. Right, here we go. Let's try and power it on. So, hard drive spinning up, that's good. And away it goes. Let's boot into the hard drive. So, seems that our little cable repair has worked. Happy days. And we're loading Windows 3.1. Right, so it's trying to load some bit of software here. IPSIS. And the evaluation license has expired. At least the trackball works. Well, mostly. Maybe just needs cleaned out inside a wee bit. Right, so what is this bit of software? It's dropped us in a window here. Links for linking. Oh, that's that same thing. So that obviously must be set to run on startup. What about this? Lincoln DOS illustrations. So what's this? Some sort of financial software. So maybe did this laptop belong to a traveling salesman? One of those guys trying to sell you a pension plan or investments? Who knows? Always nice just to have a quick browse around the hard drive to see if you can figure out the former life of a machine. So I don't really see anything else installed in here other than that links for linking software. So yeah, seems this laptop led a previous life selling financial products. And how about we drop into DOS? And then we can run the likes of check disk, see how big that hard drive is. So you have 260 million bytes. By the time you divide that by 1024 twice, it probably comes out in around 240 megabytes. So the hard drive is the right size for the Echoes 44. Just a shame about that processor. 8 megabytes of memory, we already do that. Plenty of base memory free, nearly 600k. Let's just do a quick directory listing because we're going to get dates, aren't we? 1997, December 97. Let's see if we can find anything a wee bit newer. There's a few things in here. 1999, so this wee laptop might have been in use right up to 99, 2000. That's December 99 again. Pretty cool. So we have the laptop now that it's booting. It's running off its hard drive. That's good. But two issues remain. This keyboard and the display. Speaking of the keyboard, let's just load Edit. And then we can try and type here to see how many of these keys actually work. Well, the majority of the keyboard does work. There's probably about 10 or so keys there not working, and those faulty keys are just random across the board, so I dare say all this needs is a bit of a clean. So I think we've made a decent wee start to this machine. Next time we'll come back, we'll take a look at the keyboard and take a look at the screen. But until then, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.